Hi guys.
We are very pleased to meet you all again.
Let's get started.
Today we'll tell you how much the full card collection of one Hearthstone year actually costs.
We will help you save money, as well as share our theory about the hidden balance of all resources.
We've been preparing this video for over a year. In order to make the most accurate calculations, every day we have carefully recorded every coin, pack, and grain of dust, since each element of the gaming economy has a huge impact on the value of the collection.
Obviously you don't need to spend money or have a complete collection of cards to be competitive, as there are always budget decks. Our latest deck review proves this. In addition, if you use free resources correctly, over time you can collect a very good collection of cards for most classes. Collecting cards is your main goal in Hearthstone. Therefore, we consider it very important to determine the real value of the collection without any speculation.
The community puts forward a variety of theories and makes different calculations. For new players, a complete collection may cost up to $2,000. But how much money does a player need to spend if he has been playing Hearthstone for a long time?
For example, let's take a closer look at the Year of the Dragon.
Before we begin, we want to ask you a question. Imagine if at the beginning of the Year of the Dragon, you had 0 gold and 0 dust in your account, but you already had a complete collection of the standard set and all the expansions of last year. Could you imagine how much money you would need to spend throughout the year to collect all new cards and adventures? Provided that you would not put too much effort. Pause the video and write your answer in the comments. We are interested in how close the community is to the correct answer. Do not cheat.
In my opinion, the answer is obvious. The cost of one full card set is a little more than $300, meaning the entire collection of the year will cost about $1,000.
Okay Dora, let's check it out. First of all, let's say you purchased 2 pre-orders. For $130 you received 130 packs and 2 legendary cards. One of the cards was golden, but for our calculations, it does not matter. According to our data, for the complete set collection in 2019, you'd need to purchase approximately 270 packs. One additional legendary card reduces the number of packs required by about 10 pieces.
Thus, for $130 you'd get a result that is equivalent to 150 packs. The next step is to buy an adventure to get Zale, Shadow Cloak, one of the most useless cards in history. For $20 you get 15 packs of Rise of Shadows and 1 golden classic pack, which in the worst case brought you 500 dust. In our opinion, dust has a much lower value than gold or packs for the current expansion. For free to-play players, the value is approximately 2.5 times less. If you are a premium player and you bought 2 pre-orders, your coefficient of dust value will be slightly higher, about 2.4. Since the less resources you need, the higher the value of these resources.
Let's talk about dust. Throughout the Rise of Shadows, players had the opportunity to take part in various activities, watching broadcasts on Twitch, voting for their favorites in official tournaments, events, tavern brawls. All these activities were awarded with various types of awards, including golden cards and packs from old expansions.
For our purposes, all of these resources are just dust. Ranked rewards are also an important source of dust. According to our survey, most players only reach the 10th rank. Suppose you are one of these players. Let's also add the classic packs received as a reward for completing quests. Thus, for 4 months you had the opportunity to receive a reward that is equivalent to 5,320 dust. Divide this figure by 2.4 and you get an amount that is equivalent to 22 Rise of Shadow packs. But that is not all. Players also received actual packs. In total, we managed to collect 16 Rise of Shadows packs.
And finally, let's talk about gold. Every 3 wins each day awards players 10 gold coins. Suppose you played every day, and achieved only 3 wins. According to our polls, most players do just that.
The main source of gold are quests. On average, you've had the opportunity to get a little more than 50 gold per day. There was also a 6% probability you had a chance to get a quest for a classic pack. As a result, players received an average of 6,100 gold. We must also consider gold received for participating in events, and for daily victories. As a result, you received 7,720 gold. This is more than enough to complete the entire collection of Rise of Shadows, and 1,270 gold coins will remain for the next expansion.
Here are some conclusions. The cost of the Rise of Shadows collection was $150.
You had to purchase 2 pre-orders and an adventure. Every day, you needed to complete quests and achieve 3 victories per day. You had to play and gradually buy packs to craft missing cards from dust. About 3 weeks before the release of the new expansion, you had collected the entire collection, and even saved some gold. We will use this strategy with upcoming expansions.
Now let's look very briefly to Uldum. The Saviors of Uldum phase has perhaps become the most generous in the history of the game. We even made a separate video on this topic. You can find all the details on the link in the description.
You also needed to purchase 2 pre-orders and adventures. In addition, you had the opportunity to purchase special deals such as 20 Saviors of Uldum packs, and 1 random legendary card at a very good price, only $20.
During this period, players received more gold, a little more dust, and more packs. In early November, there were changes in quests. The quest for 60 gold has become much more regular. All these changes positively affected the amount of free resources obtained. Thus, you could get the complete collection much earlier. Under these conditions you could have managed to save 8,600 gold for the next expansion. In general, you needed to spend $165.
Let's move on to the last phase of the year. Since you have enough resources, you should only make 1 pre-order for $50, gaining you 60 packs. And of course, the Adventure of Galakrond's Awakening for $20, from which you received 1 golden classic pack.
The free rewards during this phase were not as generous as during the Saviors of Uldum period. Players received rewards that are equivalent to 4,640 dust, the lowest figure, plus only 10% of Dragon's packs.
But we got more gold, about 8,600 coins. This is the largest amount throughout the year. But despite this, the value of the rewards remains the same as during the Rise of Shadows phase. These resources are more than enough to get a complete collection of the Descent of Dragons set. With this approach, you should have approximately 350 gold left.
So, in general, over the course of the year you need to invest $395 for a complete collection of cards.
If you are interested in the cost of a collection of exceptionally useful cards, it was also approximately $395, since almost all the legendary cards were useful, and used in the metagame.
This is the maximum possible cost, provided that your luck in obtaining valuable cards in packs was within the normal range. In addition, in our calculations we used the most unfavorable circumstances for receiving free rewards. For example, in cases of receiving a free ticket to the arena, we took into account that the player will not win even once. Or in the case of voting for your favorite player in the tournament, we suggested that your favorite will not make a single victory.
In our opinion, these are the most accurate calculations in which absolutely all factors are displayed.
You promised to talk about a hidden mechanism for managing free resources. What did you mean?
After analyzing all the free rewards of the Year of the Dragon, we came to the conclusion that the developers have a hidden resource calculator. Despite the wide variety of different types of awards, the Rise of Shadows phase and the Descent of Dragons phase brought the players the same number of awards. Of course, we cannot say that our approach to calculating awards is the right one. But it displays certain trends.
We believe that the game has a hidden mechanism for managing free resources. In other words, each of your rewards is not random. You think that you received too little gold. This means that you have been given more dust in the form of gold packs.
The reward for quests increased and you got more gold. Do not rejoice, most likely you will receive less actual packs and dust during the current phase. Thus, your total reward does not change.
What about Saviors of Uldum?
The Saviors of Uldum phase is simply an anomaly.
Perhaps the reason is a record low interest in the game, or a low number of people who want to pre-order, or the reason lies in the increased cost of meta decks. Or perhaps we were intentionally given more resources to compensate for the mandatory purchase of Galakrond Awakening for all players. By the way, this anomalous increase is equivalent to a little more than 3,000 gold, and the adventure cost was 2,800 gold. Coincidence? We do not know. But this is definitely not a fit of generosity.
So far this is just a theory. We have too little data, but we will continue to monitor the economy of the game.
Is $395 a fair price?
Yes, this price is absolutely fair if there are enough players willing to pay this money. I think this cost is less than many expected. In addition, players really have the opportunity to get the entire collection absolutely free. But for this you need to make a huge effort. In last year's video on this topic you can find all the instructions.
Unlike Hearthstone, Gwent and Runeterra allow you to get the entire current collection completely free without much effort. In addition, Gwent allows new players to eventually get a collection of previous sets. In Hearthstone, players do not have such an opportunity.
The game has always been very expensive. This was the original idea of the developers. In addition, 3 years ago, the cost increased significantly.
We do not require the company to change its policy. We do not require making packs cheaper or giving players more free resources. We consider such requirements not constructive. We truly respect the desire of Activision Blizzard's to make money. But we are constantly tormented by the question, can the economy be friendlier and at the same time bring the same amount of money to the developers? Dear friends, thanks to your active participation in the polls, we are trying to find out the answer to this question. And as it seems to us, we managed to find some decent alternatives for monetization.
Do not lose heart. After changing the rules for obtaining cards and a significant increase in ranking rewards, it becomes much easier to assemble a collection.
We will definitely do new calculations. The new data should surprise you.
What do you think? Is $395 a fair price for you? Have you felt the increase in rewards since the beginning of the Year of the Phoenix? Please take part in our polls on our community tab.
Lastly, we want to express infinite gratitude to our sponsors.
Guys, your help is very important to us. Thank you for continuing to believe in us. We will be very grateful if you also become one of our patrons.
Alright, that's all for today. Thank you for being with us.
And special thanks to Chris for text editing.
We will meet in new videos.
Good luck.